I don't know, bro. Honestly, let's talk about this for a second because I need to talk
Yeah.
about this. I I struggle with mental health issues, anxiety, especially and depression and
Sure.
everything. And so the last few months, it's been really hard for me, especially just being away from home during all this stuff and being forced to do things that I'm not really comfortable doing all the time. And not saying like don't need to get out of comfort zone. It's just like it's hard getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that you're not comfortable with, especially when you're already fighting a battle with your head.
Right.
And so like the thing about like just being depressed, I don't know if you've ever struggled with depression. I hope you haven't, but it's like every single thing that's bad that happens to you, it's just another reason why you should jump off a bridge. And I say that in the slightest. I say that in the slightest terms ever, because I know like suicide is a problem, but I'm saying that's what depression feels like. It feels like every little thing that happens to you bad is just another reason why you're insignificant and why you don't need to be here.
Right. No, I agreed. I've never really opened up too much about it publicly. Obviously, like your friends and close core know, but like I was in therapy last year, as recent as last year, and the only reason why I had to stop attending because it's really tough to find a good therapist, and it's really hard, and that's also a deterrent because it's like, if people are seeking help and they finally find the motivation and enthusiasm, because it is a really big and hard thing to undertake. It's not as easy as it sounds, just going out and finding someone and admitting all these flaws in yourself. um, but once you finally find someone, you find up the strength to do it, and you find someone, and that therapist doesn't really stick with you, like it just doesn't really work, and you guys don't have that connection. Oh my god, is it so fucking hard to find another one to even try to start again, because it feels like it's like, well, that's hopeless and that's a lost cause. But it's like every therapist is different, just like how not every human being that you ever meet in the world is going to be a friend to you. You're not going to strike up and create a friendship with every person that you ever bump into in a Walgreens or a coffee shop, or it's just like that. Some people are meant for you and some people aren't, and to find the ones that are meant for you to really help create change and create help, it's almost Herculean at times. It's really, really difficult. So yeah, so like I said, the only reason why I stopped attending is because I ran into an issue with my insurance, which also fucking sucked, and it crushed me. And it sucked to the point where I was just like, well, fuck this, and I just haven't gone back. And that's not me being stubborn, and I probably should go back, but through the 8 or 9 weeks that I did go, it really did help change my perspective on things, and I learned a lot about myself. And one of the things that she we talked about with her was, I like I my room that I was living in, that I'm still in, it's the same room. I had the same furniture since I was like 11. And it's just like, she kind of said to me like, what's your space like that you live in? And I explained to her, and she's like, well, have you ever thought about changing your space up to kind of reflect where you are now?
Match your maturity.
Um, yeah, exactly. Because it's like, if you're not surrounded by, like, if you're not in totally living where you want to be up here, you're not living there, in the space surrounding you, if that makes any sense. It's like your
No,
surroundings have to
yes.
reflect where you are in life if you want to see any progress. It's so hard to see progress in yourself and making career moves and shit, and then coming home and everything's the same as it was yesterday. We always have to be living in tomorrow
Mhm.
if you want to make progress, if you want to move forward. So in that, and that was one of the small things that I took from that, and I took the ball and I ran with it. And it was hard. I blew it off for months after it happened, but eventually I found my testicles and I went to IKEA and I bought a bunch of shit, and then I built it, and then here I am. So it's just little things like that, and sometimes things take time. But what people have to realize is that everyone's running their own race, and it's not timed, because there is no gold medal at the end, because you're not beating anybody else. You're only beating yourself. So everyone's running their own race, in which they're only guaranteed a participation medal. But because of that, you can finish that.
What? Hey, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. What is
Yeah.
the participation medal that you get at the end of life? A death certificate?
Yeah, it's called the IRS. They come for you at the end of life, and they take all your fucking
No,
money.
I honestly though, on a real note, I think that participation medal is the birth certificate and the death certificate. Like your birth to life ratio is your participation medal. Like you lived, you did
Right,
live. You weren't,
right.
you
No,
didn't not exist. You did live.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah.
everyone runs the race because that's the only prize that is given. There is no need to take it any faster than you can handle. It's like just run the race at your own speed, pace yourself.
Yeah.
It's very easy in today's age of social media to see people online that are your age that are so much more successful than you are, and to compare yourself to them and for you to tear yourself down. But you need to realize is that everyone that you see that's successful, they've been working on something for longer than you have. They have. They've been working on shit since they were 16. Shit just doesn't drop out of the sky for them.
Should be
And
fuel.
right, exactly. It should be fuel, but and that's not always the case. But what you also have to realize is that you're not meant to be everyone else. Not everyone comes from the same situations in life and the same backgrounds, and you are perfectly on time for you. You don't have to live off of anyone else's schedule in the same way that nobody else has to live off of yours. It's like everyone's life is their own life, and what's meant to fall into place will fall into place. You know, um, if you're like you said, it should be fuel. If you get upset and you get depressed about seeing someone that's more successful than you are at that point in your at the same point in your current life, that just fucking go out there and get it. Just fucking stop moseying around. I get that it's not that easy. I understand that, but you got to meet yourself halfway if you really want to get anywhere. I mean, it takes blood, sweat, and tears.
It does.
If
Anything
you
does.
Anything does, and that's just not just a figure of speech.
No, it's
Those are
not.
ingredients. That's necessary. Sitting around crying about it, that's the tears part. Now you got to put in the blood and sweat. You know, Maybe not the blood. I mean, like, you know,
One of the
they're like,
fascinating things that I learned about people is that complicated things make people stronger. And it's so
sure,
in things that they're afraid of. It's so like insignificant in the moment. You feel like it's the only thing that matters when you're afraid of something. You're like, I cannot do that. Like I cannot do that. Or you're like, no, I'm passing that on. I got to do this. I just want to be comfortable. But it's like when you do get in those discomfort levels and you're afraid, that is when the best you comes out. It's
right.
wild. There's a happy medium though. Like you can't just let anxiety rule your life, but you also need to place yourself in anxiety moments so that you can get yourself stronger.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
But also, I think that you can't push those moments too.
No,
Like
you can't.
I think that everyone has their